All right, let's dive into a really radical, ancient way of seeing the world. But we're not going to start with some complex, dusty theology. No, we're going to start with a feeling. A feeling I'm pretty sure every single one of us knows all too well.
And I don't just mean, tired at the end of a long day. I mean a much deeper kind of exhaustion. A really profound weariness with the whole cycle of existing. Have you ever just stopped in your tracks, looked around and had that thought, really? Is this it? Is this strange loop all there is?
I'm talking about the daily grind. Think about it. The endless cycle of getting hungry, so you have to eat. Getting tired, so you have to sleep. The constant non-stop maintenance of a body that always needs something, that always aches, that's always aging. The fact that everything you own, everything you build, even you yourself, is slowly, inevitably wearing down. And maybe the most exhausting part of it all? The sheer effort it takes to pretend that this is all perfectly okay and normal. That feeling? That is our starting point.
That feeling right there, that quiet, sober moment of just admitting to yourself that the basic setup of life feels, well, a little strange, a little bit absurd, that is the real doorway into the Gnostic way of seeing things. It isn't a doctrine you have to believe, it's just an observation you finally allow yourself to make.
So, to map out this strange arrangement, Gnosticism makes a really shocking claim, and you can see it right there in the title. The world is a corpse. Now, to understand what on earth that means, we need to get a handle on two crucial words it uses to talk about reality. On one side, you've got Ge. Now, this is the world as you experience it. It's the beautiful stuff. It's the trees, the mountains, a beautiful face, the feeling of love, all the tenderness in the world. It's the enchanting surface that we all, fall in love with. But then there's the other side, the cosmos. And this isn't the planet or the universe. It's the underlying operating system, the hidden rules of the game, the relentless, invisible law of decay, consumption, and death that runs everything inside the beautiful Ge. And this quote from the Gospel of Thomas, wow, it just lands the point with brutal honesty. Once you understand the cosmos, that death-driven machine operating just behind the beautiful surface, you realize what you're looking at. It's a corpse. A stunningly beautiful one maybe, but a corpse all the same.
And this, of course, brings up the most obvious question. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, a corpse? Corpses don't shine with beauty. They don't create art or inspire love. Our world is absolutely vibrating with life. So how can it possibly be dead?
Well, the Gnostic answer is this incredible idea of borrowed light. The material world, the cosmos, it doesn't have its own light. It doesn't generate its own beauty or life. All the vibrancy, all the love, all the good stuff we see is actually a divine spiritual light that got trapped here. A light that doesn't originally belong to this system. And think about what that means. It's not pure darkness, it's a shining darkness, which of course makes it so much more convincing and so much more deceptive.
Okay, so the Gnostic view pushes this even further, and this is where it gets really, really personal. That broken operating system we just talked about, it isn't just out there in the world. Its logic, its source code, has been installed inside of us.
So it's really crucial here to drop that simple idea of a pure, innocent little soul trapped inside a flawed body. That's way too easy. The Gnostic view is so much more intense. It says we aren't just in the burning building. As we are right now, we are one of the burning rooms. Our bodies, our personalities, our egos, they're all just local expressions of the exact same law of decay that runs the whole cosmos.
And this internal system has a name. The Gnostics called it the counterfeit spirit. Now, this is not some spooky demon. It's the system's own logic, personalized. It's the false organizing principle deep inside you. It's that voice in your head that's always chattering about hunger and fear and desire and defending the ego. The voice that never stops screaming, me, me, me.
So, if we're being run by this internal counterfeit system, well, that suddenly explains one of the most persistent and frankly frustrating themes you find in the Gospels, this idea that people are spiritually deaf and blind.
Jesus says this kind of thing all the time, and from a Gnostic perspective, he's not just speaking metaphorically. He's making a technical diagnosis of our condition. People are looking right at the truth, but their internal programming, that counterfeit spirit, it literally cannot process it. It just returns an error message. And this one is even more direct. He's not saying, you hear me, but you disagree with what I'm saying. He's saying your internal receiver is tuned to the wrong frequency. The signal he's sending out is one you are fundamentally, physically unable to pick up. And this line from the Gospel of Thomas, man, this gets to the absolute core of the Gnostic diagnosis. People aren't just missing a few facts. They are intoxicated. They are drunk on the system itself. And what happens when you're drunk? You can't see clearly. And even worse, you don't even know that you're thirsty for something real.
So how does this spiritual deafness actually work in practice? Well, you can think of that counterfeit organization inside of us as being like a malicious automatic translator. It takes any living, profound truth and instantly translates it back into the dead language of the cosmos. It translates it back into things like rigid literalism, or anxiety about survival, or blind appeals to tradition and dead authority, or a constant obsession with your identity and social status.
So, if the problem is intoxication, then what's the solution? Well, it's not about escaping to some other planet or waiting around for a dramatic rescue. The Gnostic path is about a radical change that happens right here, right now. It's about sobering up.
A great way to see this is to compare the common idea of the second coming with the Gnostic view. The Orthodox view typically sees it as a future, external event where Jesus physically returns. The Gnostic view is completely different. It's what's sometimes called realized eschatology, which is just a fancy way of saying the end of the world isn't some future disaster movie. It's the end of the world of illusion inside your own mind, a personal breakthrough that can happen at any moment.
And this is the absolute key. The goal is not to get to some new place. The kingdom, the real reality, is already here, spread out upon the earth. The problem is not our location, the problem is our perception. The real work, then, is to develop the ability to see what is already present but completely hidden by the intoxication of the world. This brings us to a famous word that Gnosticism completely reimagines: metanoia. It's usually translated as repentance, which makes us think of guilt and shame and self-loathing. Forget all that. In this context, the Greek literally just means a change of mind. It's the process of sobering up. It's that moment of clarity when the wine of the world finally wears off and you can see straight again. So let's just trace the path we've walked one more time. It all starts with that simple, nagging feeling, the sheer absurdity of being hungry and tired all the time. That leads you to see that your body and the world around you are operating under the exact same law of decay. From there, you recognize that the world's beauty is a brilliant disguise for this death-driven system. Then comes the hardest step. You turn that insight inward and realize the very self you've spent your whole life defending is built from that exact same burning condition. And Gnosis? Gnosis is the breakthrough. It's that moment you finally recognize this whole counterfeit game from the inside. Which leaves us with this final, piercing question from the Gospel of Thomas. And this isn't just a piece of information, it's a direct personal challenge. On the day you were born, you were one. But now, if you've been following this, you've become two. You're split. There's the flicker of true awareness, and there's the powerful counterfeit system still trying to run the show. So now that you see the split, now that you've become two, what are you going to do?